नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। इतिपिसो भगवारहं सम्मा संबुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरिसदम्म सारथि सत्ता देव मनुष्याणां बुद्धो भगवाति। नमो तस्स सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा। नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरं ये तेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्। उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं पादपंसो वरुत्तमं बुद्धेयो कलितो दोषो बुद्धो कमतु तं मम बुद्धं यावनिब्बान पर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। स्वाक्कातो भगवता धम्मो संदिटिको अकालिको एहि पश्चिको उपनायको पच्छत्तं वेदितव्यो विन्नुहीति। नमो तस्स नियानिक सदम्मस्सा। ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा। नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरं ये तेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्। उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं धम्मं च त्रिविधुत्तमं धम्मेयो कलितो दोषो धम्मो कमतु तं मम धम्मं यावनिब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो सामीचि पटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो इदं चत्तारि पुरुष युगानि अट्टपुरुष पुग्गल ऐसा भगवतो सावक संगो पाहुनय्यो दक्षिणय्यो अंजलि करणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्साति। नमो तस्स अट्ट अर्य पुग्गला महासंगस्सा। ये च संगा अतीता च ये च संगा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये संगा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा। नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं संगो मे शरणं वरं ये तेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्। उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं संगं च त्रिविधुत्तमं संगेयो कलितो दोषो संगो कमतु तं मम संगं यावनिब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। विपत्ति पटिवाहाय सब्ब संपत्ति सिद्धिया सब्ब दुःखं विनाशाय सब्ब भयं विनाशाय सब्ब रोगं विनाशाय भवेदीगायुकदायक सब्ब लोकं हितत्ताय परित्तङ्कं वनामहे। समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्रा गच्छन्तु देवता तद्धम्मं मुनिराजस्सा शृण्वन्तु सर्गमोक्तम्। धम्मस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता धम्मस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता परित्तस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। विपस्सिश्च नामत्तु चक्कुमन्तस्य सिरिमतो सिकिस्सापि च नामत्तु सब्बभूतानुकम्पिनो वेस्साबुस्सा च नामत्तु नहातकस्सा तपस्सिनो नमत्तु ककुसन्दस्सा मारसेनापमद्दिनो कोनागमनस्स नमत्तु ब्रह्मणस्सा उसीमतो कस्सपस्सा च नामत्तु विप्पमुत्तस्य सब्बदि अंगीरसस्य नामत्तु शक्यपुत्तस्य सिरिमतो यो इमं धम्मं देशेसि सब्ब दुःखानुपात अनुपादनं ये चापि निभृता लोके यथा भूतं विपश्यिषु ते जना अपि शृणाता महन्ता वीतसारद हितं देवमनस्सानां यं नमस्सन्ति गौतमं विद्याचरणसम्पन्नं महन्तं वीतसारद एते छन्ने च सम्बुद्धा अनेका शतकोटियो सभ्य बुद्धा समासामा सभ्य बुद्धा महिद्दिका सभ्य दासा बलूपेता वैसरज्ये हि उपागता सभ्ये ते पटिजानन्ति असबत्तानुमुत्तमं सिंहनादं नादन्ते ते परिसासु विशारदा धम्मचक्रं पवत्यन्ति लोके अप्पाटिवत्तियम् उपेता बुद्धधम्मे हि अत्तारासा हिनायक भक्तिं सलक्कणुपेता असीतानुव्यञ्जनादरा व्यामपबाय सुप्पाबा सभ्ये ते मुनिकुंजरा बुद्धा सब्बन्युनो ये ते सभ्य कीना सवाजिना महापापा महातेजा महापन्या महाबला महाकारुणिका धीरा सभ्य सानंद सुखावहा दीपनाथा पठिता ही थयन तानलेन च पाणिनं यति बंधु महस्सा सा शरणा च हितेसिनो तदेव कस्य लोकस्य सभ्ययेते परायणा तेषा हं शिरसा पादे वन्दामि पुरिसुत्तमे वचसा मनसा चेवा वन्दामि ते तथागते शयने आसने ठाने गमने चापि सर्वदा तदा सुखेन रक्षन्तु बुद्ध सन्ति करातुवं ते हि तं रक्षितो सन्तो मुत्तो सब्ब भयेहि च सब्ब रोगो विनिमुत्तो सब्ब सन्तापवर्जितो सब्ब वैरामतिक्कन्तो निभृतो च तुवं भवं ते संसच्चेन शीलेन कन्तिमेत्ता बलेन च तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च पुरत्तिस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति भूता महिद्दिका तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च दक्षिणस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति देवा महिद्दिका तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च पश्चिमस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति नागा महिद्दिका तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च उत्तरस्मिन् दिशा भागे सन्ति यक्का महिद्दिका तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च पुरत्तिमेन दतारत्तो दक्षिणेन विरुल्लको पश्चिमेन विरूपको कुबेरो उत्तरं दिशं चत्तारो ते महाराजा लोकपाला यशस्सिनो तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च आकाशता च बुम्मट्टा देवनागा महिद्दिका तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च इद्धिमन्ता च ये देवा वसन्ता इदशासने तेऽपि यं हे अनुरक्कन्तो आरोग्येन सुखेन च सब्बित्यो विवज्जन्तु सब शोकरोगो विनश्यतु माते भवतन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भव अभिवादनशीलस्सा नित्यं उद्दापचायिनो ततारो धम्मवद्दन्ति आयुवन्नं सुखं बलन्ति एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सर्वदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रतनत्रयम् अभित्यो विभज्जन्तु सर्वरोगो विनश्यतु माते भवतन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भव भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सोत्ती भवन्तु ते न कर्तयाकभूतानां पापग्रह निवारण परित्तस्सानुभावेन हन्तु नो उपद्रवे देवो वसातु कालेन सस्य सम्पत्ति हेतु च पीतो भवतु लोको च राजा भवतु धम्मिको यं दुन्निमित्तं गवमङ्गलं चायो चामनापो सकुनस्य सद्दो पापग्रहो दुष्पिनङ्गकन्तं बुद्धानुभावे विनाशमेन्तु धम्मानुभावेन विनाशमेन्तु संगानुभावेन विनाशमेन्तु आकाशता च बुम्मट्टा देवनागा महिद्दिका पुण्यन्तं अनुमोदित्वा चिरं रक्षन्तु शासनं चिरं रक्षन्तु देशनं चिरं रक्षन्तु मम परम् एतावता च अम्मे हि संवतं पुण्यसम्पदं सब्बे देवा अनुमोदन्तु सब्बे भूता अनुमोदन्तु सब्बे सत्ता अनुमोदन्तु सब्ब संपत्ति सिद्धिया निब्बान संपत्ति सिद्धिया इदं नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु ज्ञातयो इदं नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु ज्ञातयो इदं नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु ज्ञातयो सब्बे बुद्धा बलपाता अच्छेकानं च यं बलं अर्हन्तानं च तेजेन रक्षं बन्धामि सब्बसो सब्बे धम्मा बलपाता अर्य सच्चनं च यं बलं धम्मचक्रस्य तेजेन रक्षं बन्धामि सब्बसो सब्बे संगा बलपाता विमुक्तानं च यं बलं शासनस्य तेजेन रक्षं बन्धामि सब्बसो इमिना पुण्याकं हेना मामे बालसमागमो शतं समागमो होतु यावनिब्बानपत्या इदं मे पुण्याकमं आसवक्षयं वहं होतु सब्बदुःखापमुच्यतु निब्बान संपच्चयो होतु साधु साधु साधु. Okay, so today's chanting is like remembering the greatness or the glory of not only our Buddha, Gautama Buddha, to remember the previous 7 Buddhas also. Before Gautama, there was Kassapa. Before Kassapa, there were Kakusanda and Konagamana. So all these four Buddhas, they belong to this eon, this kalpa, this eon. What is an eon? An eon is the time period for this earth to generate, evolve, and degenerate, get destroyed. That completes the cycle of earth's formation and degeneration. That period is one kalpa. The time taken for this complete one cycle of birth, evolution, and dissolution. That period is one kalpa. So in this kalpa, this is also called Baddha kalpa because in this kalpa, 5 Buddhas will appear. One more Buddha also will appear in the same kalpa, same year, that is Maitreya Buddha, Metteyya Buddha. So there are 5 Buddhas in this. So of course, Metteyya Buddha is not mentioned here in this chanting. The 4 Buddhas, Kassapa, this Gautama, Kassapa, Konagamana, Kakusanda, and also 3 more previous Buddhas, like they are Vipassi. There was one Buddha by name Vipassi. There was one Buddha by name Sikhi. And there was one more Buddha by name Vesabu. Vipassi, Sikhi, Vesabu. Then comes Kakusanda, then Konagamana, then Kassapa, then our present Buddha, Gautama Buddha. So this is the order. Vipassi, Sikhi, Vesabu, Kakusanda, Konagamana, Kassapa, and Gautama. These 7 Buddhas, of course, in the scriptures, 28 Buddhas were mentioned, were named, were recollected and told by our Lord Gautama Buddha. In one more sutta called Attavesati Buddha Vandana, there we remember all these 28 Buddhas. But in this sutta, Atanatiya Sutta, we remember these 7 Buddhas. 4 from this kalpa and 3 from the previous kalpas. So total 7 Buddhas we remember. And of course, each Buddha has his own Chakkumantasa. Chakkumantasa means one whose eyes are open, who has become enlightened, who become supremely enlightened. So such 7 Buddhas we remember. And their glory, their supreme enlightenment, supreme liberation we remember. So all this remembering the Buddhas is remembering the supreme enlightenment. Why we remember Buddhas and supreme enlightenment? Because we should tune our lives also, bit by bit, part by part, inch by inch, towards this supreme enlightenment. That is the idea. That is what is the meaning of faith, right? Faith. I have faith means, what does it mean? I have this conviction, I have this inclination, I have this goal of getting enlightened, getting liberated. So this Buddha represents that enlightenment. So these 7 Buddhas we remember. It's not only one Buddha, it is several Buddhas. Why we should do this kind of remembering, this kind of recalling several Buddhas? Because if it is one Buddha, then there is a possibility of becoming blindly attached to one Buddha. And he will serve us, he will save us, he will protect us, like in other religions with wrong views. So the Buddhas are not your saviors. Buddhas are your guides. Buddhas are the torchbearers, guides for you. In that way, we have our say admiration, we have our liking, we have our say inclination, tuning towards Buddhas. Unlike in other religions, it is not like getting something from their masters or their founders. So he is savior, he will protect you, he just surrender to him, just pray for him. Here that is not the way. Here it is simply to remember not just one Buddha, 7 Buddhas, and that's how they liberated them. That's how they worked on their minds. That's how they became enlightened. They are just an inspiration for us. That's it. They are not our saviors. Please understand this huge, major difference. between this right view and wrong view philosophies, or wrong view, right view, say religions, or let us say philosophy instead of calling it as religions. So in this approach, we are interested in getting inspiration from them, not to get either say some kind of blessings. Of course, we can seek for definitely, not to get some kind of materialistic benefits. So let him say. So then there are no Buddhas actually. They have shown the path. They have shown the say the way to reach Nibbana, and they disappeared. They have extinguished into Nibbana. So our duty is to get inspiration from them and work on our own minds and get liberation. That's what is this approach. So this is what we have to recollect when we chant this kind of sutras. So this kind of sutras. So in this Atanatiya, we remember these 7 Buddhas, and we just got inspiration from them to work on this path. And again, in this why I chanted this one more special sutta. Of course, they have glorified Buddha's different qualities also, different features also, and also different Dhamma, his Dhammacakkappavattyanti, they come and they roll the Dhamma wheel, and they liberate millions and millions of people and the divine beings, the Brahma beings. And that's how we prize them. By prizing, by appreciating, by worshipping Buddhas, we get some inspiration, we get the right path, we get that inclination. So in that way, because of these reasons, we prize them, we worship them. In addition to that, what we have recalled here in this sutra, we have recalled the divine beings also. As I was telling you in Mahasamaya Sutta, we recall the divine beings, because these divine beings actually they have some ability to say give blessings to us. They have some ability to protect us. Divine beings have the ability to protect us, but we are connecting ourselves and our divine beings also with Nibbana, with Buddhas. Because if we are simply inclined to divine beings, simply look for materialistic things, then we won't get liberation, we won't get wisdom, we won't get right view, we won't get the true inner peace. We may get some materialistic benefits, but it will increase our suffering if we don't understand these materialistic benefits are meant for working on our mind, protecting our body, and liberating our mind. If that understanding is not there, then we will get stuck with the body only, materialism only. And as we know in the Four Noble Truths, whatever comforts we have in the materialistic life, then dukkha only. They won't give us the ultimate happiness. Of course, we need all those things. We can't live a miserable life. We need physical comforts, we need physical protection, but it has its own limit. Beyond that, we should think of liberation also, enlightenment also. So for that, always we connect our worship to divine beings with Buddhas, with liberation. That's what is the beauty of this sutra. Here we worship Buddhas, we worship the qualities of Buddhas, we worship the teachings of all these 7 Buddhas. And in addition, we worship, we remember, we prize, we glorify, we admire the protective devas also of these 4 directions. There, in these 4 directions, there are 4 protective divine beings, and their chiefs also we remember. And of course, they are all the followers of Buddha. They have all the 4 groups of divine beings who are protecting the 4 corners of this world. They are all the followers of Buddha. So in that way, that connection is there. We seek protection from these divine beings, and those divine beings, they follow Buddha and they seek enlightenment, just like we seek enlightenment. They too seek enlightenment, because they have a lot of power. They have that protecting ability also. The 4 divine beings from in these 4 corners of the world. So who are the, of course, in Mahasamaya Sutta also I have mentioned those 4 protective divine beings. Of course, we are seeking protection from the disease, protection from say santapa, from all kinds of suffering. And then from each direction, we are mentioning that divine being's name and we are seeking protection. We are seeking health. We are seeking sukha, happiness from these divine beings. Puratti masmin disabhage. Puratti means like from the east direction. Santi bhuta mahitika. Santi bhuta mahitika. Some kind of divine beings that we are seeking, we are requesting them for our protection and also for our health and happiness. Dakshinasmin disabhage. So Dakshinasmin means like from the southern direction, we are seeking protection from some divine beings, Santi Deva Mahitika, some divine beings. Depi amhe anurakantu arogyana sukha. From there we are seeking health and happiness also. Pachimasmin disabhage. The Pachima means like western direction. We are seeking protection from some Nagas, Santi Naga Mahitika. They are also divine Nagas. From them also we are seeking protection and health and happiness. Uttarasmin disabhage Santi Yakka Mahitika. There are again some kind of divine beings from the northern direction. We are seeking protection from those divine beings also. Again, in each direction there are different divine kings also. Purattimena Datharatto. From the eastern direction, the king of those beings is called Datharatto. Dakkinena Virullako. From the southern direction, the king of those divine beings is Virullaka. Pachimena Virupakko. From the western direction, it is Virupaksha. Kuvero Uttarang. From the northern direction, it is Kuvera. From these 4 divine kings, we are seeking Chatarote Maharaja. These are the 4 Maharajas, 4 kings, great kings. Lokapala is a synod. They are the Lokapala. They are the saviors or the protectors of these 4 directions of this world. So we are seeking protection from these 4 divine beings of this world who are protecting the 4 directions of the world. And also we are seeking health and happiness. So in that way, this is one interesting sutra where we are seeking both materialistic say comforts from these divine beings and also the true spiritual comforts by remembering the 7 Buddhas. Vipassi, Sikhi, Vasabu, Kakusanda, Konagamana, Kassapa, and our Gautama Buddha, these 7 Buddhas. In that way, always, so that is my suggestion to you, my advice to you, or my upasakas and meditators. Have that balance, have that beautiful balance of materialistic comforts and spiritual comforts. So you should have good health, you should have, say, wealth, prosperity, comfort, good relations, good friends, everything. And in addition, you should have this inclination towards liberation, towards enlightenment, towards this Dhamma, towards the right view. Then the life will be very, say, successful, peaceful, joyful. It will be very balanced. One should learn that art of balancing materialistic and spiritual comforts. That is art of living. That is the true art of living. So that is about today's chanting. That's one of the beautiful sutras, Atanatiya Sutra. And now we will continue with our discussion on this this law of action and reaction, law of cause and effect. So last week we have seen this based on the function. What are the different kinds of karma? What kind of karma will lead to rebirth? What kind of karma will protect that reborn being? What kind of karma will sustain that reborn being? What kind of karma will counter the sustenance of that reborn being? what kind of king, what kind of say kamma will completely counter, will completely annihilate that reborn being. Your Janaka Kamma, reproductive Kamma. Janaka Kamma is nothing but reproductive Kamma. That is, that Kamma will take you to the next birth. It is quite powerful. So that kind of Kamma will take you to the next birth. That is called Janaka Kamma. And the second kind of Kamma that will sustain that reborn being. After rebirth, that being should be sustained. Otherwise, it will die. Is it not? After, let us say, uh, the child's birth, we should feed it, we should sustain that child. In the same way, Kamma, after that reproductive Kamma, after the being is born, that being should be sustained. For sustenance, also some Kamma is required for that being to sustain and grow and live. Some supportive Kamma is required. That is what is called Upattambaka, supportive Kamma. After Janaka, after rebirth, it should be sustained, Upattambaka, it should be sustained. Then that being may come across with a lot of difficulties, maybe some health issues or some financial issues. That is called Upapidaka. So it is sustained, it is growing well. It some counter kammas. Again, they're opposite of these Upatambaka, sustaining kammas. They will give some counter to it. And some other kammas completely change, completely they are responsible for the complete change of the track. It will completely, good kammas are going on, then these Upapidaka and Upagataka, they come and they completely destroy. Upagataka means like destructive kamma. It comes and destroys that being. If the bad kammas are going on, the bad life, like for example of some animals, or say, for example, of this Angulimala, because of bad karma. Again, Buddha's encountering, it becomes opposite. And learning from Buddha, it becomes completely changed. He becomes an arahant. That way, all these four kammas, they can be positive, they can be negative. The first two, if they are positive, the last two become negative. If the first two are negative, the last two become positive. Got it? Last week I completely explained this. Is it? It was clear, right? Today also I did not explain those things. So if Janaka Kamma is good, if you are taken birth in a very well prosperous family, let us say, or in a good family, Upapidaka, it becomes opposite. Like in the example of Devadatta. Devadatta was born in a royal family. His Janaka Kamma, reproductive Kamma is very good. Upattambaka, he was grown well. He was supported by his family, his parents very well. So his Upattambaka is also very good. Janaka Kamma is also very good. Reproductive Kamma is also good. The supportive Kamma is also very good. But he, under some wrong views, he started developing enmity, ill will towards Buddha, and he started creating problem for Buddha and all good people. So for that, Okay, there is some problem with my laptop. Oh, I'm using this mobile. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay. So, this Upapidaka, it is counteractive. So, Devadatta, he faced a lot of problems because of his wrong views, wrong direction, he was thinking. And then what happens? Upagataka, so he was killed. He was completely, because of his evil karma, because of his very, very strong, very, very heavy evil karma, he was killed and he was destroyed and he went to the hell. He was fallen into the hellish realms. So that is the function of these different karmas. Reproductive karma will take you to the next birth. Upattambaka karma will sustain your life in the next birth. Upagataka karma, Upapidaka karma, it will create problem for your sustenance in the next life. Upagataka, Gataka means destroys. So Upagataka karma will destroy your next life also. Got it? These are the 4 kinds of karma based on their function, what kind of function they do. Today we will see at the time of death, what kind of karma will come to our lost mind in this life. And that kind of karma, the lost karma that comes to our mind at the time of death, possibility, is there any ways and means, is there any technique to rectify, to take care of that lost karma or lost mind so that we can get a better rebirth? That is also one of the beautiful aspects of today's Dhamma talk. Today we will learn, so which kind of karma will appear in our mind at the time of death? And is there any possibility, is there any way to change that particular karma, particular thinking process? So let us call it as thinking process, thought process. The karma is nothing but thought process. So because of the thought process only, we speak, we act, and which remains in the mind, it's called mental action, mental karma. So the mental karma only will lead to speech, verbal karma. It will lead to physical karma, physical action. So that's why the thought process is actually the true karma. Chaitanahi karma, that's what Buddha says. Your intention, your thought process itself is karma. So at the time of death, what kind of thought process will affect, or it will come to your mind? Which kind of thought process will come to it? And then is there a possibility to change that thought process? If it is a negative thought process that comes to your karma, is there a possibility to change that negative thought process into positive thought process? So in that also we will see. So so there are again 4 kinds of karma that will come at the time of death. Among these 4 kinds of karma, the possibility of the karma, that particular karma that comes to our mind at the time of death, the highest possibility, the greater possibility is for one kind of karma. It's called Garuka karma. Last week also we discussed about this Garuka karma, very heavy karma. There are positive Garuka karmas also, there are negative Garuka karmas also. Garuka, Garu means what? Garu means what? Heavy, big one or heavy one, major one. Some problem with my laptop. The major one, it is the Garuka karma. So I told you last time, the negative Garuka karmas are, what are the negative Garuka karmas? You remember? If you have killed your father, if you have killed your mother, if you have killed an arahant, or if you have harmed or if you have hurt
the Buddhas, Sammasambuddhas or Buddhas, or if you have if you have created some problem in the Arya Sangha or the or harmonium, if you have created some problem in the harmony of the community. And then if you have wrong view, permanent wrong view, please remember this. If you have very, very rigid wrong views, that will take you to the hell, that will appear at the time of death, and that will take you to hell. So having very rigid wrong views is very, very dangerous. It will become a Garka Kamma. View, after all, view is what it is, again, thought process. At the time of death, again, that thought process will come. It will create a lot of suffering in your mind, and you will die with suffering, and you will take rebirth in hells where there is a lot of suffering. So in that way, these 6 are the negative Garka Kammas. And of course, as I was telling you last time, becoming Sotapanna, Sagadagami, Anagami, Arahant, Pacceka Buddha, Sammasambuddha, or even getting jhanas, they are the positive Garka Kammas. If you get jhanas, if you become Sotapanna, Sagadagami, Anagami, Arahant, Pacceka Buddha, Sammasambuddha, they are the positive Garka Kammas. Like in the case of Devadatta, so he has both positive Garka Kammas and also negative Garka Kammas. You remember? He got jhanas also. He got jhanas, but he was not Sotapanna. He got jhanas. So even the jhanas, the positive Garka Kammas, they were annihilated. They were countered by his negative Garka Kamma. He wanted to kill Sammasambuddha, and he hurt Sammasambuddha. He created schism in the Sangha. They are so horrible. Though the jhanas are Garka Kamma, positive Garka Kamma, even these positive Garka Kammas like jhanas can be countered by negative Garka Kammas like trying to kill Buddha, trying to create schism, division in the Sangha. So they are more powerful than the positive Garka Kammas. So that's why Devadatta had to fall into these hells. He had to die a miserable death, and he has to fall into the hells. So in that way, the Garka Kammas, they are the ones which appear at the time of death. If you have achieved jhanas and if you have sustained, maintained the jhanas, at the time of death, the jhanas will come into your the mind, the mental, in the mental dimension. You will get that jhanas at the time of death, and after death, you will immediately take birth in the Brahmic realms, because jhanas, they will take you to the Brahmic realms very easily. And if you have achieved Sotapanna, Sagadagami, Anagami, Arahant, Pacceka Buddha, Sammasambuddha, Arahant, Pacceka Buddha, Sammasambuddha, and yeah, these 3 things, you will enter into Nibbana. So at the time of death, you will get these things and you will enter into Nibbana. If you have achieved Anagami just before Arahanthood, then you will enter into some states called Suddhavasa, Brahma realms. If you have achieved Sagadagami, most probably you enter into the divine realms. If you have achieved Sotapanna at the time of death, definitely you will not fall into the lower realms, the hells. You will definitely take birth in very good place in the human world, or in the divine worlds also you will take birth. That way, the Garka Kammas, the positive Garka Kammas, will always take you to the higher realms. The jhanas, the Sotapanna, Sagadagami, Anagami, Arahants, Pacceka Buddha, Sammasambuddha, if you have achieved these things, they will come to your mental screen at the time of death, and you will go to higher realms. The negative Garka Kammas will definitely take you to the hells. The negative Garka Kammas like killing the father, killing mother, killing Arahant, hurting Buddhas, and creating schism in the Sangha, and having this permanent wrong view. Permanent wrong views. We have different kinds of wrong views we have seen while we are discussing Brahmajala Sutta. The extreme views of body-centeredness or soul-centeredness, or so many kinds of wrong views, 62 wrong views. If you have very rigid wrong views, you are rigidly attached to these 62 wrong views, then definitely you enter into the lower realms. So these are the first, the most probable kammas or the thought process that will come to our mind at the time of death. There is an analogy in the scriptures, in the commentaries. They give an analogy. So there, you know, one cow pen. It's called cow pen, I think. So there, all the cows are there. There is only one gate. There is only one gate. So inside that, that boundary, inside that fence, so many cows are there. When this gate is open, so the strongest bull, it will just keep away other cows or other bullocks. It will come first. So that strongest bull is like your Garka Kamma, the strong Kamma that will come to your mind screen at the time of death. Then the second possible thought process or the Kamma that may appear at the time of death. If there is no strongest bull, let us say, if there is no Garka Kamma, you have not done any Garka Kamma, you have not achieved any jhanas or Sotapatti Magga Phala or Sagdagami Magga Phala, or in the negative side also you have not killed father, mother or Arhanta, something like that. No Garka Kammas, either in the positive side or in the negative side. Then at that time, your mind will get what is called Asanna Kamma. Garka Kamma, the next one is Asanna Kamma. Asanna means like near, proximate. So it's called death proximate Kamma. So at the time of coming to this analogy, this example, this simile, in this cow pen, near that gate, if the strong bull is not there, then the bull or the cow or the bullock, which is near to the gate, it will go out of the gate. Is it not? If there is no strong bull, which will not strong enough to keep away other bulls or other cows, just force itself to come out of the gate. If that kind of bull is not there, whatever cow or bull which is near to the gate, it will go out of the gate. The same way, the death proximate Kamma, so if there is no Garka Kamma in your mind, you have not done any Garka Kammas, either positive or negative, at the time of death. So whatever the death proximate Kamma, at the time of death or just a few minutes before death, whatever Kammas you do, so they will appear in your mind, they will remain in your mind. And based on the power of whether it is good or bad, the death proximate Kammas, if they are good, then you will go to higher realms. If they are bad, then you will go to lower realms. So they are called Asanna Kammas. The next possibility is for the appearance of Asanna Kammas in your thought process at the time of death. The first possibility, the major possibility, the predominance is your Garka Kamma. If the Garka Kammas are not there, Asanna Kammas will come to your mind at the time of death. I will give different examples. First, I will mention these four kinds of Kammas, the order at which they come at the time of death, and which will take you to the next birth. So the Garka Kammas are the most probable Kammas. If they are there, they will come at the time of death. If they are not there, then the death proximate Kammas, whatever Kammas you do at the time of death, nearly at the time of death, those Kammas will come to your mind screen at the time of death. If they are also not there, then the Achinna Kammas, they come at the time of your death. The second one is the death proximate or Asanna Kamma. The third one is Achinna Kamma, which are Achinna means the habitual Kammas. In your lives, habitually you are doing some kind of Kammas, some kind of actions. Habitually, you are doing some kind of actions. That kind of action, that kind of thought process will come to your mind at the time of death. So that is called Achinna Kamma. So for example, if you are, okay, now examples we will see later. So in this analogy, we will see this cow pen. So there is no strong bull, and there are some. So though there are some bullocks or cows near the gate, they are not very eager to go out, let us say. But the habitual, some kind of weak cows or ordinary cows, habitually they keep coming, they keep moving, they keep coming near to the gate. Or that kind of cows, they go out of the gate. Habitually, which are the cows which are keep moving here and there, keep coming to the gate now and then. Such kind of cows, they go out of the gate. You got my point? So in that way, the habitual kammas that you have done in that life, again and again you do that life. For example, again and again you worship Buddha, let us say. So that time, at the time of death, the statue of Buddha may appear in your mind. Or again and again you are habituated to give dana. So that thought process of giving dana will come in your mind. So they are positive. The same way negative. Again and again you are abusing some people. That thought of abusing people, that will come in your mind at the time of death. Again and again what you are doing. That kind of karma is called habitual karma. You are habituated to some kind of action, some kind of thought process. That thought process will appear in your mind at the time of death. And that is called achinna kamma or habitual kamma. So then comes the last one. If you don't have one very powerful habitual kamma, powerful death proximate kamma, that is asanna kamma, and powerful garka kamma, let us say you don't have in this life, then what kind of kamma will appear at the time of death? The last kind of kamma that appears at the time of death, if you don't have these three previous kinds of kamma, is your katatta kamma. Katatta means the cumulative, say accumulated or the reserve kamma. Small things, good things, all they have accumulated and it has become one kind of kamma. Of course, we do so many kinds of kamma in our life. So small and big, and like the sum total, like in your balance sheet, income and expenditure. After some income, some expenditure, some income, some expenditure. Finally, some balance will remain in one page. That final balance, that is called katatta, that cumulative kamma, katatta kamma. It is small thing. There is no major expenditure. There is no major income. Small coming and going. But finally, some cumulative kamma is remaining. Some cumulative balance is remaining. And that one is called katatta kamma or cumulative kamma. In English, they call it as cumulative kamma or reserve kamma. Which has been reserved because of all these positive and negative. The final sum total, that is what is called katatta or the cumulative kamma. So that will come to your mind at the time of death. If the three previous kammas are not there in your life, the katatta kamma, the reserve kamma, the sum total of your life, the small and big kammas, the plus and minus of your kammas, so that will appear at the time of death, and that will take you to either higher realms or lower realms, or the same human realm. Whatever that final result is, based on that, you will take rebirth. So in that way, the order at which the different kinds of kamma appear at the time of death, that will take you to the next life, they can be classified into these four groups. That is your garka kamma, your asanna kamma. Garka means heavy kamma. Asanna kamma means death proximate kamma. Achinna kamma means the habitual kamma. Katatta kamma means the reserve or the cumulative kamma. So this is the order. Generally, the heavy kammas will appear. If no heavy kammas, the asanna kammas will appear at the time of death. If no asanna kammas, death proximate time, you are not doing any work. You are not doing any actions, any kamma you are not producing at the time of death. Then the achinna, habitual kammas will come in the mind at the time of death. If there are no habitual kammas also, then the sum total of your life, the different kammas that you have performed in your life, the sum total, So plus and minus, the final balance sheet, the final balance that is remaining in that lab, that will come at the time of death. It's called Katatta Kamma. So that is the last kind of Kamma that will appear at the time of death. If these three previous Kammas are not there. Now coming to the examples. Garka Kamma, I already given examples for positive and negative Garka Kammas. Death proximate Kamma at the time of death. So this is what very, very important for all the wise people, because though we have done a lot of good kammas, negative kammas in our life, bad kammas, at the time of death, in all religions it is there, especially in Buddhist countries. I have seen this very much. So the monks will go to the house of the person who is on the deathbed, and they start chanting, and they start creating some good vibrations, and they emulate and they evolve and they say induce faith in the person who is dying, and they create that vibrations also by chanting, and they will help him to recollect the Buddha and Buddhist teachings and whatever nice things that he has done, like generosity, like faith, all these good things that he has done. They just help him to remember those things. Then at the time of death, if he remembers these good things, these meritorious actions, those meritorious actions, if he remembers, then it becomes death proximate Kamma. So that's why at the time of death, the relatives, the sons and the daughters of relatives, they should see that the person who is dying, he should die very peacefully with a lot of good thoughts in his mind at the time of death. So they create that kind of environment. There are so many examples, so many. One person was a butcher, but his son, what he did, my father will die and he will definitely go to hell. So what kind of arrangements he made? He took him to the own stupa. He started chanting. He gave him flowers. He started. He asked his father to offer flowers to Buddha, and in some instances, they helped the dying parent to offer, say, the requisites to the spiritual people, religious people, or even to the poor people, so that kind of say meritorious actions, like offering, like giving, like charity, like that will create some joy in their mind, in the dying person's mind. So he will die peacefully, joyfully at the time of death. So that inner joy, I am doing some meritorious action, that kind of inner joy he will get. So he will die peacefully and joyfully. So that is where we can change the destiny of the dying person. Of course, he might have done a lot of evil actions also, but at the time of death, if he can do some positive actions, then his next life will be in a good place. His rebirth will be in a good place. And after taking good place, his evil actions, definitely it will again come and harm him. But the plus point is he will get the good rebirth. He will not fall into hells, or he will not become animal or something like that. He may become human being. But if he has done a lot of evil actions, as a human being, he will suffer. But at least he will get the human life now. But if he can take rebirth in a very good family, where there is a lot of faith, where his parents are very good people, then there is a possibility of his evil actions, they will come down, they will decrease. He will start performing more and more good actions only, and he will escape from the results of the evil actions. They become defunct. They will become powerless, the evil actions and their results. So I will tell about this kind of the next classification of kammas in the next Dhamma class, Dhamma talk. But now what you have to understand, at the time of death, the duty of the children or the relatives is to create good ambience and to help him to die joyfully and peacefully. How he can develop that joy and peace? Only through right faith, only through the right actions or these right meritorious actions. Like if he has done some very good actions, we just help him to recollect those good actions, or you just Devatanusati. There are different kinds of 10 kinds of Anusatis. Buddhanusati, Dhammanusati, Sanghanusati, those things you chant and help him to remember these qualities. Or help him to offer something to the spiritual people or the needy people or the poor people, or take him to some some religious place. That's why in the ancient days, the old people, they used to go for pilgrimage. And of course, now also you can take the old people to different, of course, the followers of Buddha, they can take them to Bodh Gaya or Lumbini or Sarnath. So in that way, what we can do, if at the time of death, of course, you can't take them to other places. There you can help them to offer something, remember something, chanting, reading something, chanting something, creating some spiritual ambience, like keeping some Buddha statue or agarbattis, flowers, everything in front of where he can see, and he can get some inner peace. That way, that kind of arrangements one should make at the time of death. Then you are changing this asanna kamma, and it will definitely help him to take a better rebirth. And to that extent, you can help him to take a better rebirth. So that is the example for your death proximate kamma. Then achinna kamma, habitual kamma. So have some good habits every day. Do some. So practicing meditation every day, little bit by bit, so that also will add up to your powerful achinna kamma. So that's why we have these practice sessions every day, at least half an hour, 45 minutes, and it will become very powerful achinna kamma that will definitely come to your rescue at the time of death. Or every day doing puja, every day chanting, every day listening to them, or once in a week also, it will become habitual. Or every day offering, or once in a week or once in a month offering. Full moon days, some people give some dana. That is also okay. That is also one kind of habitual kamma. So in that way, have some habitual positive kammas, meritorious habitual kammas. Once in a week, once in a month, every day. Do some kind of habitual kammas. It will also become very, very helpful, and that will also protect us at the time of death. Okay. And of course, katatta kammas, if you don't do all these three kinds of positive kammas in Garka category, in asanna, death proximate category, or achinna, the habitual category, then the katatta kammas will come to your rescue. If your katatta kammas are more towards the positive side, then the positive katatta kamma will come. If it is more towards the negative side, the negative katatta kamma will come. The reserve kamma, the cumulative kamma. But cumulative kamma, you should not depend on the cumulative kamma, because knowingly or unknowingly, a lot of negative things by default, the human mind is negative. So they will come into our mental screen at the time of death, which are generally negative. So work on this habitual kamma, of course, death proximate kamma for those people who are on the deathbed, the other people can help them. And of course, Garka kamma, positive Garka kammas, like getting jhanas. That's what, of course, is our goal now in all these level 1 to level 5. If that is there, if once you get it, then you need not bother about death proximate or achinna or katatta, because they will definitely come to your rescue. The powerful Garka kammas. Once you achieve it, then you need not bother about the other kinds of kamma. If you won't get it, work on this achinna kamma. Habitual kammas you have to work every day. So in that way, meritorious actions, they will give us some kind of hope, some kind of, they inspire us to do meritorious actions. This classification of kamma, the study of this cause and effect, different kinds of kamma, will inspire us to do the right actions, the meritorious actions. That is the intention of, say, giving this Dhamma talk. So now we will conclude. So all of you, I think, understood the importance of knowing different kinds of. Next week, we'll see one more category, one more classification of kammas. And the next week, of course, is one more classification of kammas. If you thoroughly, this ins and outs of different kinds of kamma and how we can work on our mind to fix our own negative kammas by countering them with the positive kammas, the wholesome actions, how we can beautify our life, how we can even glorify or beautify our death. That kind of skillfulness one should learn. That is the very purpose of these Dhamma talks. Okay. So with this, I'll conclude. If you have some questions, you can ask some questions. And then, of course, we'll conclude. Yeah, you can ask questions.
Vandami Manteji.
Vikas
Patil, Nasik se. When a person dies in accident suddenly, what will be his future rebirth?
Yeah, it depends on, say, what kind of kamma will appear in his mental screen at the time of accident. It has a lot of shock, a lot of fear. So that fear is actually the katatta. He has not trained his mind to become peaceful at different situations. The katatta kamma will come to his mind at the time of death. If it is a sudden death, generally it is katatta kamma, the reserve kamma or the accumulative kamma, because he has not worked on his mind with some good habitual kamma. Or if his habitual kamma is always some fearsomeness in his mind, that might have brought that accident, and with that fear only he may die. So generally at the time of this kind of sudden deaths, it is like some kind of shock, some kind of fears only will come in the mind. And fear is of course not good. That's why the accidents and the sudden deaths, they say, they are not good kinds of death. They are not the right kind of dying. That's not the right kind of dying. So at the time we can't, other people also can't help. If it is very sudden death, no, death proximate kamma, so you can't change. You can't take him to, say, one place where the good ambience is there, and you can't, say, ask him to do some good actions like puja or chanting or recollecting his previous good actions. All these things are also not possible. So sudden deaths, in a way, they're not in most of the cases. It is the fear, it is some anguish, some agony, some shock, that kind of thoughts, that kind of intentions, that kind of feelings will be there in the mind at the time of that sudden death. And that is not a good kind of dying. It will have generally, like in accidents, it will have the wrong rebirths, not very supportive rebirth, not very positive rebirths. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Any other question? So now, so understanding these different kinds of different classifications of kamma will give us some insights. And you should look into the practical aspect also of this kind of discussion, of this kind of Dhamma talks. Where I can work, I should work on the Garga kammas. I should get the jhanas. I should become Sotapanna. I should become Sagalagami. In that way, you should try to fix your goal and enthusiastically work on this goal. That is one thing, the practical aspect of this kind of Dhamma talks. The second thing is habitual kammas. Let me work on my habitual kammas also. Every day, let me practice meditation. Every day, let me do some service. in promoting this, or in this is one of the best Vyavacha Seva as far as my knowledge is concerned. Or every day, let me do some chanting or puja. Or let me read some Dhamma discussion, or this attending Dhamma talks once in a week or something like that, or offering dana. Let me be generous. Not so generous of giving everything and becoming poor, and me becoming, say, losing everything. No. So as much as possible, let me learn this art of generosity. Or something like that. So every day or every week or every month, what I can do? How can I fix this habitual karma, this achinna karma? How can I make this achinna karma more meritorious? There are so many meritorious actions. All those things will add up to your achinna karma to become more positive. That way you can think of. And helping the people at the time of that will also become very good karma, the very good meritorious karma. Then at the time of our death, somebody will come and help us. If we help some dying people with this kind of arrangements, creating proper ambience, then at the time of our death, some good people will come and they will help us. So in that way, one should work on this asanna karma, death proximate karma. One should work on habitual karma. One should work on garka karma. So in that way, we should look into the practical aspects of all this learning. Simply, we learn 4 kinds of karma. We know the Pali terms also for this. And in that way, you simply say entertain yourself or inflate our egos with we know so many things. It will not really help us. So we should see how these things can be practically made use of in our day-to-day life. That way, if you think, then it will be very, very useful. So that is the intention of our Dhamma talks, introducing these different classifications of karma. Okay, any other thing? Any question?
Bante?
Yes, Super sir.
Bante ji, thank you very much. बहुत अच्छा आपने, you have given us very good discourse on other things. One point, see, when somebody is doing all the good karmas, all the good karmas, everything is doing, but at the last moment he died with the accident. So he is having this bhai karma. He was having the bhai karmas. So definitely, when he is having the bhai karma or any negativity because of accident, he will not get the good rebirth.
Generally, he won't get. But once once that negative karma, that fear, that shock is over, then again he will die and he will get, because of this, all the positive karma he has done in this life, he will again get a better rebirth after that short rebirth, short birth, where he has to undergo the karma vipaka, the karma result of that sudden death. I will give you an example, then it becomes very easy. This King Ashoka, all of you know, the King Ashoka, the great king, the great emperor, the great king, King Ashoka. He did a lot of Dhamma work. He did a lot of, he was a great meditator also, great say, promoter of Dhamma. He gave his son and daughter to Sangha. They became monk and nun, his son and daughter. They went to Sri Lanka and they completely changed Sri Lanka into a Buddhist country. And of course, giving son and daughter to become monk and nun itself is a great meritorious action. And of course, he built so many stupas, 84,000 stupas, and he worked so much. So he became such a pious king, great king, non-violent king. That's why he is one of the greatest emperors of the world. And of course, forget about his greatness in the materialistic world. He became very spiritually also so great person, great evolved being. At the time of death, what happened? One of his servants, he could not listen to his orders properly. He could not bring some water in the right time. He became angry, this King Ashoka. With that anger, he died. But what happened? Because of that anger, that shock or that anger in the mind, which is of course negativity. He became a snake. They say he became a snake in these Himalayas. He took rebirth in the Himalayas as a snake, but only for a few days. Because of all these positive karmas, good karmas that he had done as King Ashoka. Not as a snake, as a King Ashoka. Only for a few days he was snake and he died. And again he took a very good rebirth. He became a Deva. He got one very good rebirth. That's what the scriptures, the commentaries say. So in that way, at the time of death, there was anger filled in his mind. Because of that, he became snake. But because of this accumulated lot of habitual good karma that he has done, meritorious karma he had done, it came into his protection. And his life as snake was very less, it was for very less time. And again, the positive karmas, they took the lead, and it took him to the higher, higher birth, in a better place as a Deva. Same thing happens to one queen. Her name is Mallika. She was also a very great supporter of Buddha. She was the queen of the great king Pasenadi, where Buddha stayed 25 years in Shravasti. The king of that Shravasti was Pasenadi. His wife is Mallika, and she is so great, so pious. She actually converted her husband, Pasenadi, and she was not having interest in Buddha, but because of her devout faith in Buddha, he also became a devout follower of Buddha. And also, of course, she supported Buddha to promote his Dhamma all over the world, all over India. In several ways, she built so many monasteries also. And she's very pious, very, very devout lady. But she did some mistakes, some evil karma, because that came in her mind at the time of death. That came in her mind at the time of death. Because of that, though she has done a lot of good actions, but at the time of death, the evil action, that evil karma that she had done, that came at the time of death, and she has to take rebirth in the hell, not in the animal. Even in the hell, she had to take rebirth. But Buddha knew her life in hell is only for a short time, because she has done a lot of good karma that will definitely help her to come out of hell and again take rebirth in the Deva realms, the divine realms. Buddha knew that. Again and again, this King Pasenadi, he was insisting Buddha to tell where his queen Mallika has taken rebirth. But Buddha used to avoid that question, because he knew after 1 week I can tell him the answer, that now she has taken rebirth in the divine realm. If he says that she has taken rebirth in the hell realm, then he feels very bad. This king will feel very bad. So 1 week he could not answer. Buddha did not answer. After 1 week, Buddha answered that now she has taken rebirth in. She has taken rebirth in the divine realm. Then the king became very happy. So that way, so at the time of death, in the sudden accidents, though you have done very good actions, definitely because of that suddenness, the mind may be a little shocked. Because of that shock, you may not get very good rebirth, but the previous good actions will definitely come to your rescue. Maybe a few days, you may end up in some kind of disturbed state of mind, disturbed rebirth, disturbed place of rebirth. But after that, definitely you will escape from that disturbed place, and you will take rebirth in a better place. Just in the case of King Ashoka and this Queen Mallika, the examples I told you, one will definitely get protection from his good actions. So it will not go in vain. Whatever good actions one has done, it will not go in vain. It will definitely come to one's rescue. Okay.
Yes, Bante. Vandami Bante. I'm Vijay.
Yes, super. Yes, super, sir.
Vandami Bante. Thank you very much.
Yes, super, sir.
Vandami Bante ji.
Yes, yes, super, sir.
This means that karma is our creator of our future life.
Correct.
Okay.
So here there is no other creator God. Kamma Sakomi, Kamma Dayado, Kamma Yoni, Kamma Bandhu, Kamma Patisarno. Kamma is our creator, Kamma is our destroyer, Kamma is everything for the follower of Buddha. So one should work on Kamma is what after all is Kamma is your thought process, your intention process. Work on your intention process, work on your thought process. Then you create your own life. Then you create your own hell. Then you create your own heaven. Creating hell, heaven, body, mind, everything is in your hands. That is the gist of Buddha's teachings. Is it not?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, super, sir. Yeah. Okay, some people are sending messages, but no question. Very wonderful discourse, very informative. Very informative. Okay, any questions? No questions means I will close. Okay, we'll conclude with one small chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arhato samma sambuddhassa bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena tada sotti bhavantu te sukhi bhaveyang niddukko aham nicca aham viya idha chame sukhi hontu majjatta chatavedino imam higammante dhamme satta hontu sukhi sada Ato paranchara jesu chakkavale sujantano sadhu 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 sukhi hontu mangalam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhante. Vandami Bhante.
Vandami Bhante ji.